Hello, 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 everybody. This is take 2 that we're recording for you from our Wellness Wednesday expert series that we had a lot of technical issues with last Wednesday. So Margie and I have decided to record this for you. So if you get the replay and you watch the replay, please drop us a line below, connect with us and let us know if you have any questions or anything at all that you would like to know about your own health or well-being, because today is going to be an incredibly informative session with the beautiful Margie Dangerfield. And it dropped into me this morning that I think I'm going to call her the queen of anti-inflammation or something like that because she's doing such amazing work out in the world. And in fact, it's been so amazing for me also that I actually use it as a protocol and also help some of my clients who are looking for better health and well-being, because it's all about physical and mental well-being at the end of the day. And we need to, nourish our bodies and our minds equally and feed the cells what it needs. And what Margie is sharing today is incredibly powerful and valuable for you to know, and how to get the best out of your physical and mental well-being. So the topic that we're talking about is reducing inflammation for mental and physical well-being. And Margie's a registered nurse. She's been a midwife, nurse for 17 years. And also I think it's 17 years in the IVF world too.
Yeah. Now I've been a nurse for like 35 years, 35 years and a midwife, 17 years in IVF and and a hypnobirth educator.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So all the things. And you've all so being in the health and wellness industry, in fact, we met many 20 years ago in that industry. And I know that, we've always been for me, nutrition has been a key for optimum well-being. So optimizing our health, now through this test-based nutritional approach is just phenomenal. How far we've come in so many years that we can actually test, the inflammation in our body and what's happening in our body. So I'm excited to dive in and talk about, reducing inflammation so that, you can prevent possibly illness and disease, right? Potential illness and disease. And we've had some incredible results. That's why I'm so excited about sharing this. So thank you so much for joining us, Margie.
My pleasure, Jo. And I wanted to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to reconnect with your community after our glitch we had on Wednesday. But, these things are sent to test us, aren't they? And
absolutely.
That's okay.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everyone, for joining our Wednesday wellness webinar. And I really appreciate, Jo, what you're doing for your community and raising awareness and giving people the opportunity to connect with like-minded people who are on the same mission, and that is to improve public health. And, we need lots of strategies when we're working towards aiming for optimal health. And diet and nutrition is really one of the strategies, but it is quite profound, the effects it has on your body. So when we're talking about optimizing our health, today in particular, that's where we're going to delve into is the nutritional deficiencies that can have a negative impact on your health. So understanding how we can improve in that area. And of course, Jo, you have lots of strategies in your toolkit that you offer all of your clients. And this is just one of your strategies, but it's quite profound, as you said, has profound implications. And when we're talking about mental health, it's really interesting because sometimes people think of the mental aspect of your health is different to your physical health. And of course, if we don't have good physical health, we cannot have good mental health. So that's really, it's not separated, the brain and the body. It's all connected. So the two drivers that I want to talk about, chronic disease and mental health falls into a chronic disease process. I really want to delve into two areas that we can help you if you know someone, whether it's yourself or whether it's someone you love, someone you care about, someone you work with, someone in your family that you know might be struggling with their health or mental health. So the two drivers that I want to focus on is chronic inflammatory stress and dysbiosis, because yeah, there lots of research is going into this area now when we look at food science. And most importantly, we know that if you do have chronic inflammatory stress, it's going to affect every single cell in your body. So what do I mean about that? I have to explain to everyone so they know what we're talking about, Jo. So what we've come up with in Zinzino is basically a test-based approach where we can analyze essential fatty acids at a cellular level. And we do it by just taking a small finger prick blood test, and we send the dry blood spot test off to Norway. It's an independent third-party GMP certified laboratory, world renowned for dry blood spot testing. And what we're looking at is to see if you in fact have a nutritional deficiency that is going to impact your overall health. And this is a biomarker of inflammation that we're looking at. So we're looking at the ratio of essential fats and the fats that surround every single cell in your body, and they need to be in a correct ratio. And when we're talking about ratios, we mean in balance. So that ratio of omega-6 to 3 needs to be no greater than 3:1. So what is omega-6? Well, omega-6 is all your pro-inflammatory essential fats if they're taken in abundance. And those are corn, soy, canola, sunflower, vegetable oil, palm oil, which are found in an abundance in our diet today, because a lot of people are on the go, have busy, stressful lives, and they're consuming lots of convenient foods which are in packages. So when you pick up a package and you look on the back today, you're going to see vegetable oil, and it's hidden. And of course, yeah, and it's in a lot of our farmed animals now, because agriculture has changed so dramatically. Nutritional soil is depleted. It's not how we were eating 50, 60, 70 years ago. So the animals who are farmed, their nutritional content is a lot less than what we imagine. So there's less of, you know, these nutrients. And of course, these animals are also being fed corn and soy and pro-inflammatory foods as well. So it's very interesting when we do this test, because even if people are trying to eat well, it may not necessarily be that they're consuming an abundance of these things, which we know a lot of people are, but because if you have too many of them, it's pro-inflammatory at this cellular level. But if we're talking to someone who's very proactive, eating well, organic, doing all the right things, and we do their test and they're still deficient, it's because they're not sourcing omega-3 efficiently. So that's the other essential fat that we analyze. So we look at your omega-6 in comparison to your omega-3. And of course, omega-3 is your wild caught oily fatty fish, or chia seeds and flax seeds. But chia seeds and flax seeds is needs to convert to create the EPA and DHA to get target values of omega-3. And omega-3 is an essential fatty acid, which is anti-inflammatory. Okay. Yes. And of course, if we're going to the supermarket, which I do to get my salmon, because I love salmon, guess what? It's farmed. So I don't eat a lot of it, but it doesn't have the nutritional content that you think it would.
Yeah. Well, I don't touch it at all now. I do not touch it at all.
A lot of people don't for that reason, because, you know, it's been, you know, farmed, and it's just not as nutrient rich as we imagine. So these essential fats, the reason I'm explaining that is just so people have a general understanding of what that is, because that's what we're testing in this little dry blood spot analysis. So omega-3 wild caught sources are very hard to get, and there's an abundance of omega-6. So that's why we've got this variation, and we're seeing very high ratios of omega-6 to 3. Now, what does that do to our body? Well, it starts to impact every cell in our body. So You know, it doesn't matter whether it's a cell in your joint or your tissues or your organ or your brain. So if you've got a high ratio of omega-6 you actually have neuroinflammation. And this is going to affect your mental health, plus all other aspects of your health as well.
Yeah.
So this is why this is so important, because neuroinflammation is going to give you all sorts of cognitive issues, like brain fog is one of the most common. You may have poor memory. You may have low mood. You're going to be at higher risk of depression. We know women who have low DHA values, when we test them, that they're at a higher risk of postnatal depression. And that's an area that I'm really passionate about, being a midwife, to make sure that I set mums up in pregnancy and preconception, to make sure that, you know, we're not going to encounter this or have a high risk of encountering postpartum depressive symptoms. The other thing is too, that a lot of people are not aware, is that our children are actually really struggling today. And we have such a high prevalence of kids with anxiety, ADHD, autism spectrum, learning behavioral disorders. And a lot of this is also stemming from having this nutritional deficiency. And when we test these kids as well, which we can, and we test a lot of children. In fact, Zinzino is the only company in the world that has the biomarker looking at specific needs for children's nutritional requirements, because they have higher metabolic requirements. So they need more than adults. When we give them the omega-3, it goes by weight. So these kids are struggling too. And we can do a lot for these children. And also, while we're touching on the maternal health aspect, Jo, I want to talk about pregnant women, because we know that these women who have low DHA values, then their baby that's growing in utero doesn't have enough omega-3 source for its neural pathways to be developed.
Yes.
That is one of the key reasons why we have such a high prevalence of these conditions in these kids today. So it's so vital that we actually get people tested, and we raise awareness, and we have a lot more conversations with people to say, have you been tested? Because we know that this can make a significant impact in these areas of and the other thing too, like people are not aware that in utero we can change, you know, we're looking at epigenetic changes.
I was going to mention that. Yeah,
this has transgenerational positive impact. So, you know, we can make a huge difference for the next generation and the generation after that, by looking and addressing these deficiencies and making a difference. I've helped so many people, even athletes who I didn't realize had mental health disorders, and there is a guy who I was helping, very famous cricketer, and when I took his ratio, it was very high. I didn't realize he was having quite a lot of depressive disorders. And in the process of helping him, he actually came back to me and said, Margie, I really think this product has saved my life. I mean, that's profound, because he was really struggling with depression. Because when you think of it too, like the brain is a very fatty organ, and a large portion of that fat is DHA. So, you know, if we're not eating enough of this nutrient, then we're not fueling the brain, and we're not giving the body what it needs for the brain to function optimally. And we're also setting ourselves up, Jo, for cognitive decline. So, you know, as we age, and that's another area that, you know, we can make a big difference in, and helping people improve their long-term cognitive health. And I certainly want to have my brain switched on right till the very end, and giving it the nutrients that we need. We can certainly do that. And the other area too, which is really interesting, is the in athletes, is neuroinflammation. And there's a big topic of discussion at the moment around concussion and recovery. So all these athletes that are having head injuries and not recovering as well as they should is because they all have neuroinflammation, because they have high inflammatory markers, and they have we know that 97% of people who take this test are unbalanced, they're out of balance. And what we have with the Zinzino program is a 120-day test and retest program.
Mm-hmm.
We've tested over 1.3 million fatty acid profiles now. It is the largest database of its kind in the world. So we know that we can bring people back into balance in 120 days by using a formulation that is completely unique in the marketplace. And it is actually an olive polyphenol omega-3 that doesn't oxidize in the body. It's stable long enough to reach the cell membrane. And that's why we see the changes at the cell membrane when we take that second test in 120 days. And you and I have both done the test.
Yep.
We both
Totally surprised me. I tell you,
Yeah.
I remember saying to Margie, no, I'm good. I've been on this omega, this high quality, omega that was, it was, around the $80 mark a month. Yeah. For like 30 years. I said, no, I'm good. And she goes, Jo, no, just test. And I'm like, okay, I'll test because I actually wanted to see that I was in the range, but it was interesting that mine came back high. So, obviously I want the best on the market, and I do love the idea of test-based nutrition. It's scientifically proven. That I switched immediately, and and then retested in 120 days. But can I just share my own story here for a moment?
Yes,
At the
please
time, I know, because you've got so much knowledge and information, I want you to keep going, but I just wanted to just share this because it's really important. Like, you think you're good, right? But at the time, I had a bursitis in my right shoulder. I had a torn tendon. I injured it helping my partner in the garden, lifting, thought I was superwoman, planks of wood, big planks of, sleepers. And I had this insatiable itch under my skin that I'd been to the doctor about, and nobody could work out the bloods. Everything was fine in my bloods, like everything was perfect there. But this itch, and I put it down to hormonal. I was probably about 60 at the time. I'm nearly 63 now. So I've been using now for 3 years. And I tell you, within weeks, like seriously within weeks, and those that know me know I love my yoga. It was a big part of my morning routine. I wasn't able to hold anything on this arm. So it was debilitating, and they wanted to do steroids. And I went, no, it'll be fine. And thankfully I found you and took the omegas, and within a few months I was back to doing full yoga every morning. I couldn't even lift my arm. I was amazed. And that was enough evidence for me to say, well, that was something that was lacking in my body to help the recovery, because I know a lot of people with bursitis suffer for like months, even years. And then they go and get the injections, and then sometimes the operation. You can prevent these things if you know this information, what's important to have in your diet. So that was just me personally, and why I want to share this. I'm so passionate. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's the stories, Jo, that drives people to give this program a go, because we have helped so many people improve their health. Like for me, when I got tested too, I was using an alternate brand, which over the course of 20 years, I'd used omega supplements and still had joint stiffness. And then 3 weeks on the balance oil, the joint stiffness disappeared, and I went from an 8.5 ratio of omega-6 to 3 down below 3 to 1 is what we're aiming for, because we know then we're protecting our health from all sorts of conditions. We know the root cause of all non-communicable disease processes is inflammation. So we're putting a brake on the inflammation by bringing people back into balance. And that's exactly what happened to your body, to my body, and to everyone else that we're helping on this program. We're just bringing their body back to homeostasis from a cellular health perspective. And unless you're healthy at a cellular level, you cannot be healthy architecturally. So this is foundational work that we're doing. And it doesn't matter what else you're taking. We want to make sure your cells are soft, flexible, and permeable so nutrients can enter optimally. The mitochondria is functioning and repairing the energy sources of your cell. The signaling is optimal, and of course, toxins and wastes are escaping. So without that flexibility of the cell membrane, your cells are not soft. They're not going to replicate healthy cells. So that's all we're doing. It's a restorative program, and it's also a protective. So it's then protecting, because we know there's so many disease processes that are going to, we can reduce, like, cardiovascular disease, certain types of cancers, once we get this ratio below 3:1, which is where it should be.
Yeah.
So it's so important. And for the kids out there, their cognition, like that's the main thing people use omega-3 and eat oily fatty fish for, is for cognitive health. But not a lot of kids today are eating wild caught oily fatty fish.
No.
So we know these kids have a deficiency. So let's go and help them, because we know we can regulate their behavior. They have improved behavior. They're able to regulate their emotional health. We've had autistic children who are non-verbal, who are actually speaking after taking the oil for 12 days. These are some of the stories the parents are telling us. And the teachers at school are noticing a remarked improvement in their ability to concentrate in the classroom. And so that's profound. That's amazing.
It's profound, and it just makes me so excited, and it lights me up so much, and so emotional to think that we have something here that can help so many kids, our next generation coming through. And with all the health issues these days, it's just imperative that parents need to know about there is a solution, right?
So we are very big advocates of testing, because it's a starting point to see where you're at. And it's also motivating then to say, okay, I didn't realize that was going on in my body. And it's quite an educational report. It's not just a pathology test, thinking I'm not going to understand it. It's very easy. It's a traffic light signal. Some people just go, oh my God, I don't want to be red, I want to be green. But it also comes with, educational tool for you to know, what does this mean? What is essential fats? How do I find them? How do I fix it? What else can I do? So that's a big part of our program. The first pillar is to restore that cellular health. The second pillar, Joe, which I want to talk about, is to correct dysbiosis. So that is so important as well. And that's something that we're working with as well. So that means turning your gut bugs into really healthy environments. So we all have our unique microbiome, but a lot of us, we have dysbiosis, which is more bad bacteria in our gut than good, basically. That's pretty much what it is. So why do we have such a gut that's got so many bad bacteria in it? Well, we know that viruses damage the microbiome and the gut bugs. We know that stress diminishes the good bacteria in your gut. We know medication, and we know processed foods. All these things we're constantly bombarded with, that's going to destroy our healthy bacteria. And to be honest, this area of science is huge in the medical world. And moving forward, there's so much focus on gut health, because we know that it influences every single aspect of your health. So if we haven't got our gut bugs right and the community right in there, then we are opening ourselves up for all sorts of health issues. And we also know, Joe, that there's a nerve, it's called the vagus nerve, that runs from the gut to the brain. So of course, if you've got more pathogenic or bad bacteria in your gut, the signals that are traveling up to the brain are not as optimal. So of course, it's going to affect how we think, how we feel. You can be anxious, all these things that we think are happening, they're actually happening within us, and we actually can take some control. So it's really interesting. So what we use in Zenzino is a prebiotic fiber. Now, I'm going to explain what a prebiotic fiber, because it's very different to a probiotic. And most of the community are very well know what probiotics are, because, they advertise well. They're very expensive, actually, and they're often the community is told this is the answer. But in all honesty, what a probiotic is, Joe, it's adding good bacteria to our body a prebiotic is not adding the good bacteria, it's actually feeding, it's fuel, it's nutrition for your gut bugs. So when we've got dysbiosis, we don't necessarily just need to add some good bacteria. What we do need is to look after the ones that we've got, because they're unique to each individual one of us, and we need to nurture and feed and fuel them so they continue to ferment and populate more healthy bacteria. And that's what Zanzino did. So they came up with a prebiotic fiber. It's a gluten-free, and it has 8 soluble fibers. So what that is, meaning that it's a time-release blend, that the product will ferment and the bacteria will be producing. And as that first fiber ferments in the short period of time, then it passes on to the next fiber. And the whole colon is being fed bacteria. And so very quickly, the microbiome is being changed from gram negative to gram positive, and that's when you notice the difference. It also creates a healthy bowel. You can release a lot of toxins from your body, and it reduces insulin spike. It also supports cholesterol, reducing cholesterol levels. There's so many positive effects. We know that one of the compounds that's produced from the fermentation process is called butyrate, and butyrate has a lot of research around it in what it can do, and also identifying and changing the behavior of certain tumor cells. So there's so many positive aspects of what this product can do. So it is the second pillar. So we want to work on reducing chronic inflammatory stress in the cellular level, and then correcting the dysbiosis. And both those pillars, if we improve those, there's significant health improvements, not just on your mental health, but on your overall health, is going to be profound.
Yeah, I know. It's just amazing. And, gut health is so important. I was just thinking as you were speaking there, more and more people I come across are so intolerant of certain things and foods and gluten and all the stuff now more than ever. And if they just worked at correcting their gut,
yes,
then everything else is like their intolerances will be more tolerant. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So what
So
happens in that environment, Jo? Like what happens if they've got more pathogenic bacteria, there's more bad bacteria. It starts to wear away at the lining of the gut, and then the tight junctions separate. And of course, that toxins or the bad bacteria leak into the bloodstream. And that's when you get endotoxemia. And that's when you can start a lot of autoimmune diseases and all sorts of conditions.
yeah.
So what we're doing is restoring that gut health, and we're going to support the body in able to, get back to homeostasis and, start to repair and rebuild good health.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what it does. Yeah.
And I mean, that's the most important thing, isn't it? Your immune system and your gut and your immune system health, but also your cellular health. Like
Yes.
they're the 2 areas that are really are needing the most attention. And what I find is by using that, I need less of anything else because my body's been optimally nourished in a way. I mean, I still take my, smoothie, my shake with all the nutrients, but I'm getting the best quality nutrients. And what I am taking, I know is being absorbed. All right.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff we take, if you're taking like lots of supplements and things, a lot of it's just being wasted because your body's not able to assimilate. It's not able to absorb it. So that's an important thing to remember. You got to correct these things first before you start just taking anything. Right?
Yeah. Look, Jo, I've helped so many people, and I do tend to strip back a lot of stuff because I come across people who, in their quest to get well, they grab a bit of this and a bit of that, and all of a sudden they're on like $300 a month of supplements, and none of it's working.
No.
Because they haven't corrected the foundation, which is the cellular health, and they haven't corrected this dysbiosis. So I always say, just stop everything. Let's look at the foundations, and let's work on these 2 things alone.
Yep.
And once we've recovered and we've restored that, and of course, physiologically, the body will start to heal, and then we can just add other bits and things back in it.
If it
But
needs it. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love this conversation. I'm so passionate about helping people with their health, and I know you are too.
yes,
Just wanted to say, if people are wanting to find out more or where to start, just let me know in the comments. Reach out to me. I can access the tests and all the things that you need. Let's get you tested for a start and see what's
first and
happening.
foremost, exactly. I
Yeah.
always say test, don't guess. You
Yes,
don't
yeah.
need to guess anymore. You can test.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? This
Hmm.
the science and all the things we have now that we can do to look at what's really going on in our internals and just validate. Start there. Is there anything else you want to share before we close our session today?
No, I've just loved having a chat with you, Joe. And yeah, I would just encourage anyone who's doesn't feel that their health is on track or where they want it to be right now, or if you know someone who you may want to help, someone you care about, please put them in touch with Joe because she has the tools, she has the strategies to help you get back on track with your health.
Yeah. And I just want to quickly add also that the stories that I hear coming out of like the people Margie's helping, like recently one that came to mind, which I do want to mention because I know a lot of women suffer from that, and you're working in that area of helping them, is endometriosis. And even Crohn's disease and things like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, endometriosis, in Joe, like 1 in 7 women.
1 in 7.
So it used to be 1 in 9, now it's 1 in 7. So we've got all these chronic diseases more
Yeah.
prevalent and starting earlier.
Yeah.
So it is a big issue. And honestly, these women, once we get them on this program, within their very first cycle or their second cycle, their pain is going from like a 10 out of 10 down to a 3 out of 10. It's transforming their health dramatically. We're putting a brake on the inflammation. We're slowing the progression of the endometriotic cellular growth down
Mm.
by using these two products alone. It
Yeah.
has a profound impact. So if you know anyone with
Seeing
endometriosis,
that.
absolutely, we want to get them tested.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Margie's working with like all the IVF doctors are sending her their clients to help them first and foremost before they even go through that. That's an expensive process. But if you get your body in optimum health, it's going to have you're going to 10 times your chances, right?
Yeah, well,
Just,
you're optimizing your success because you're actually, when you reduce the inflammation and reduce the oxidative stress, you're actually improving your egg quality
yeah,
and you're improving the sperm quality and the
yeah.
endometrial receptivity. So we
Oh my
know that
God.
it's optimizing the success to pregnancy.
Yeah.
And that means a healthier mom and a healthier baby and a healthier next generation. So
Yes.
it's a real positive spin-off.
Step in the
Yeah.
right direction.
Yeah.
We could just talk about this all day, all the stories
I
that
know.
I hear, and autoimmune. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people, beautiful friend of ours who's had incredible results with her MS and,
Yes.
all that stuff. So, yeah, definitely if you know anyone, please, we do care about people. And this is why I want to get this out share this with the world, but also for Margie to share as well with
And
us.
other health practitioners, Joe, too. So we're working with a
Yes.
lot of health practitioners
Yeah.
who are using this in their clinical practice.
Practice.
So, integrative health doctors, clinical nutritionists,
Yeah.
geneticists.
Yeah.
It's such a good tool to support you in your business as well. So if that,
Absolutely.
yeah. Mm. So we,
Essential part of health, I believe, and I know you do too. And I'm so happy that you were able to share that with our community today. The
my
recording will
pleasure.
be available for everyone. If you have any questions, reach out, but definitely reach out and find out about getting tested because it's so, so important. So I want to thank you, Margie, for all your wisdom and all your passion and all the things you're doing to help people get healthier and live longer and more energetic and cognitive and all the things.
Exactly. Age well.
Age well,
Exactly.
age gracefully, as we
Yes,
say.
that's it. Aging well.
Oh,
Fantastic. It's
beautiful,
a pleasure.
beautiful. Thank you so much. Really
Thank you,
appreciate your
Joe.
time. Take care.
Bye bye.